Hello, my name is Abe. Welcome back to Dead Cells. Let's continue our custom run, which basically means start a new run. Do we have any cells, though? Did we fight the collector on the last run? It looks like the answer to that question is no. And also, I am playing... What was this? Guacamelee? Never played Guacamelee. Let's begin a run. I have no idea what we're going to be playing, and that's what I love about starting a fresh Dead Cells run for the day, not knowing what the heck we're going to be doing, just jumping into a game and saying, that looks fun. So what looks fun here? Boy's Axe. Rooting enemies constantly with the axe, being able to pull it back, do damage. It's a nice build with the bonk bat, if you can get it. Hate this path. Yumi's bow, love it. Great opportunity to build into a tactics run, and of course, explosive crossbow, which we have been using on occasion and then immediately... You hear that lightning? It's not even raining out, but the lightning is moving away, so don't expect a power outage today. Although if it does happen, you know, hey, we just started a Dead Cells run. If this run has to get scrapped, it's no big loss. We've been doing a lot of explosive crossbow and then transitioning into a different survival weapon recently. You know what we have not had recently? Yumi's bow. And that's probably a complete lie. I think we've definitely had a lot of Yumi's bow lately. But also I don't care. Yumi's bow is a lot of fun, and I'm gonna freaking use it. Because we're here for me, or I'm here for me anyways. I'm here for whatever I wanna play. I'll go tactics on this run. I feel like it has been a lot of, we have been doing a lot of melee runs, and especially melee runs involving the parry stick, aka the iron staff. That seems to be something that we have been picking up a lot recently. I have to try to remember what my last run was. It has been, you know, almost a week since I've played Dead Cells. The big problem, though, is that in between playing Dead Cells runs, I'm also editing Dead Cells runs, uploading Dead Cells runs, and then scheduling Dead Cells runs for YouTube, so I just have a blur of runs that may or may not have been the last run. I remember at some point that we had... Hey, get out of here. That's gonna hurt. At least we did get the shot off. I remember at some point we had a run where we ended it with the legendary assassin's dagger, except we turned it into a legendary death scythe. Was that the last run? I have no freaking idea. Yo, get out of here. That works. Should really maybe take this opportunity to utilize Cocoon a little bit more. Not a big fan of it, but does give us an opportunity on this run, since we do have it as part of our starting gear, to maybe actually try it out a little bit. Reason why, maybe. The reason why I'm not a big fan of the Cocoon early is because a shield at least gives you a passive benefit. What is the passive benefit of a shield, which I am putting in my backpack? It's that you get a shield. When you get hit, you get protected. That doesn't happen with Cocoon. If you miss the timing on your shot, you're just getting hit in the head. So at least with the shield, you're getting a passive damage. And also, the parry has like a millisecond cooldown. So if you ruin your parry window, you're at least still able to do something very quickly afterwards. Just wait a split second and try to parry again. With the Cocoon, you have like a 10-second timer on the damn thing. Cocoon is nice. You can use the Cocoon to parry things that are normally unparryable. So shockwave attacks from the Hand of the King, for instance, you can parry those technically. But otherwise, I would much rather just have the shield. I understand it a little bit more. Well, that's pretty decent. Gotta admit, you love Ice Blast, and the Yumi's bow is pretty nice as well. Ammo mutation does not apply to the item. I believe that even means that we won't get 3 arrows, we'll only keep the 2 that we currently have. Unlike things like Okuto's bow, that one you get an extra 1 copy of, I think. So instead of 2 shots, you get 3 shots. Unnecessary. We don't have a shark, so we're not gonna take the tornado. I'm just gonna be looking for something. Something good. Corrosive Cloud, is that good? It's something, at least. We could take Corrosive Cloud Cocoon. Corrosive Cloud is able to do a little bit of AoE damage. We have Frost Blast for that kind of, though. Maybe we'll just save our money and buy something on a future floor where we actually have a little bit better of an idea of what we want, especially because I am looking for weapons right now. Tell you what I might do. I might just go straight into a non-DLC route. Gasp! What have you done with Abe? He always goes to the toxic sewers when he has survival, or rather tactics equipment. Hold on. There we go. I do like being able to swap out to that sword if I ever need some sort of a melee hit, and I am thinking specifically about those darn enemies that you find in the... it's the corrupted prison. They always block your ranged attacks. Those weirded warriors is their name, and I'm not saying that just because I find them weird. They are truly an annoyance. Someone gonna tell him that Toxic Sewers isn't DLC. Shut up. For a second there, I thought I was on a survival run. Could do a Drac run. You know what? Let's do a Drac run. I like that idea specifically because tactics is good against death. Let's do it. Also, it's not me. It's the fact that it's incentivized. Crab Samurai. For some reason, I remember their name as Weirded Warrior, and I think part of that is because they have a weird name. But yes, Crab Samurai. War Javelin. Impales all enemies in its path. If they're close to the wall, they take extra damage. Javelin must be retrieved. Does this push? I think they're pushed. I got a question here. Dead Cells Wiki GG War Javelin. Does this work with Acrobata Pack? Unaffected by ammo. The javelin can be thrown multiple times without being collected or returned. The teleporting function of the javelin is also ignored. Sounds good to me. Let's equip it in our backpack, get rid of the shield, and then we're still gonna take disengagement, but we will certainly think about an Acrobata Pack later. I don't like the War Javelin as a primary weapon at all. The teleportation mechanic gets me killed all the damn time, so we're gonna ignore that and just use it as a random-ass ranged weapon. It is Weirded Warrior, but they're crabs. I mean, Crab Samurai, it's not a... What the heck was that? Did you see that, like, weird glitchy effect that happened when I spawned in? What the hell? Okay. Feel like maybe there's an ARG involved in my game right now. I also have no UI. Oh, there it is. That was extremely disorienting. I don't know what that was. Well, like, I know what it was. It was the level loading, and I think that's just the effect of the level loading, but I don't know, it was just like, did I start playing Dead Cells at a specific date? Is this like one of the anniversaries of the original Castlevania and that's like an Easter egg or something? I feel weird. Anyways. Well, we definitely need a new weapon. We need something that does a little bit more damage, but if I freeze him and then smack him, that should be good enough for the most part. Dead Cells 2 ARG. God, if only, you know? I am currently the #1 Dead Cells streamer on Twitch, so, you know, if they're gonna pick anyone, they're gonna pick me, right? Well, I'm only the #1 streamer, you know, right now. Markiplier hasn't booted up Dead Cells for the day yet. I don't know if he plays Dead Cells. I don't know anyone who actually plays Dead Cells other than me, but I don't really follow that many people on YouTube or Twitch. That's probably to my own detriment. Really, that just means that I I wouldn't mind having someone else to watch, but also there's too many options. It is a crowded space, isn't it? You know, I actually like this. Victims burn when they die from the serenade means that we can continuously just frost blast after we kill one enemy. And if the enemy being killed is very weak, we can just combo a lot of frost blasts together. Random weapons, perfect. I'm gonna email Markiplier and ask him to play Dead Cells just for the memes, as Ross said. Do it, but also say, put my name in there somewhere. Don't say that I told you to do that though, but just say, man, Markiplier, I love this Abe Clancy. You should totally like do a partnership stream with him and we can play some Dead Cells and then I'll get his millions of followers and then be able to like buy a house. I'm gonna recycle some of this weapon. Although, you know, Spartan Sandals is pretty good with the frozen damage, but also I don't care. Is there a Metroidvania exploration in this game or is it really watered down? Asks Mr. Beastwick. All right. Important distinction to be made. Metroidvanias are generally of the form where you explore a world, fight bosses or not, pick up loot, gives you permanent upgrades, and then you can explore other parts of the level you couldn't explore before. Castlevania or Metroid being the inspirations there. This is kind of a Metroidvania, but it's more of a roguevania. You do get permanent upgrades. In fact, we can see the upgrades if we just go to this screen, I think. If we go to, is it not? Okay, well, I don't know how to find them, but you do get upgrades. You get a wall climb, you get a downwards dash upgrade, but you don't get to explore other parts of the game until you do a new run. That's where the roguevania kind of comes in. Sure, we get a vine grow ability. That's the first rune that you unlock, but you can only really use it after the first run because that allows you to go from the starting area to the sewers. And then you get another unlock there, so it takes a minimum of 4 runs to get the 4 runes. That being said, plus damage on a frozen target I like. I like that sort of way of introducing mechanics and techniques because Frost Blast is fine. You get comfortable with the mechanics of the game, and then it introduces a little bit more complexity as you go, and I think that's a very good way of doing it. The map does shuffle between your runs, and that's where certainly the rogue-lite element comes in that you have randomly generated maps, and the enemy positions are somewhat randomly generated, and everything's a little bit different, and the loot you get is different. So it is like it's a rogue-lite-vania. A lot of clarifications that have to be placed on games nowadays, isn't it? It's X but Y but Z, and there's all sorts of different mechanics, and you could have a roguelite that is more of a Isaac where you just unlock items for your runs, or you could have a roguelite that's more of a rogue legacy where you actually have like meta progression upgrades that give you advantages over the course of your runs, and all sorts of different things. Hey, I got stuck on a wall, literally. I did get a legendary rapier though, which is kind of interesting. Plus damage on a frozen target, rapier. We'll think about that one. I literally, like, I was stuck here and I couldn't get away from the wall. That was funny. Anyways. We're gonna have to, unfortunately, eat some infected food to recover from the damage that I just took that I don't even believe that was legitimate damage. But that's okay. Gee, who would have thought you can't describe an individual game with 1 to 3 keywords? The marketers, probably. Can't tell you how many games are completely miscategorized just because they're just using buzzwords. It's you jerk. It's a rogue-lite, except it doesn't really have that many rogue-lite elements. It's like Dead Cells. It doesn't really have that many Dead Cells-y elements. It's not an action platformer. It's a gungeon. It's not a bullet hell. It's like they don't even know what the game is. They're just like, what's the buzzword? I don't know. I just feel a little bit cynical today. You want to know why? I made a bit of a mistake. I watched some Yahtzee, aka Zero Punctuation, aka the game reviewer who is always annoyed by everything, and then I feel myself today just being like, I'm annoyed by video games today. Damn greedy corporations making the same World War II era brown shooters with chest-high walls. What happened to games as an art? Dun dun dun. To be fair, the tags on Steam are user added so they can be misleading. No, I didn't grab the shortcut. Yeah, I love the misleading user tags when, like, Animal Crossing is like a survival horror experience, psychological horror. The Barbie girl is like Eldritch themed, and it's like, okay, well, not really, but go ahead. Look at the biters, man. My favorite. Call Dead Cells an immersive simulation? Is that what ImSim? What the heck's an ImSim? You know what? Let's send out the sword that knows best. Yeah, casual tag for Dark Souls. You know what? There you go. See ya. I love when the enemies get stuck on the stairs. It's like they've never seen a slight incline before. Immersive sim, it's a weird definition. Mostly Deus Ex-like games mean... What is it, Deus Ex? RPG? Kind of an RPG. Kind of roleplay. Roleplay whoever you want to be. Up until you fight the bosses. I never did play, there we go. I never did play Deus Ex after they completely redid the boss fights from Deus Ex Human Revolution, specifically because the original boss fights were made by a third-party developer, and they were bad. You know what? Fine, I'll get you later. You teleported nowhere. Dude, I need some more freaking HP. Unfortunately, these enemies are not dropping it, but maybe one day they will. Hold on, I need another bullet. Scream! Careful! Looking for HP in all the wrong places, apparently. Thank you. Should really be utilizing the Serenade more. It still one-hits enemies in certain situations, even though I'm not rolling tactics. Hey, magic fanatics. Welcome, thank you very much for the resub. Kaka! I discovered you by chance a while back. I'm a fan. Thank you very much for the kind words. That's all I can say to that. It's a big hearty thank you. And Sylvita, welcome. Kaka! Nah. I should really get rid of the cocoon. I'm not using it, like, at all. I like extra damage on a burning oiled target, I don't know if we're actually going to be able to, create burning oil. We're going to be swapping out items later. Let's not worry about that for now. Cocoon. Cocoon. I mean, there's oil grenade. Just don't know what to replace anything with at this point. Does Dead Cells have any puzzly elements? I'm pretty interested, but is it really just full-on action like Hades? There's no puzzles in Dead Cells. There's puzzly unlocks. There's like Easter eggs. There's one unlock where you have to get through a section without hitting any doors, and that's just it's very clear what you're supposed to do. But it's not a puzzle game. This is definitely just an action game. You get some weapons, you jump around, you shoot things. It's a lot of fun. Clock tower bells are a puzzle. Well, as said, it's really just for like unlocking things, and it's usually pretty clear what you have to do. It's not a puzzle game though. It's not like you've gotta use your head or anything. Oh, he's so clever. Dude, where the hell is the food? Oh my god, it was all the way down here. The food was inside us all along, and it was carrots. Do we want the rapier, by the way? It's a relatively low-level rapier, so it's not particularly good. Increases your movement speed when you get a crit. Damage is like whatever. Cocoon is hard to remember. Normally I use my active abilities for preparation. Like I use them to kill an enemy or to light them on fire before I engage. So using them while I'm engaging is always a little bit difficult to remember. Because it's a parry, but I don't like parrying. I like dodging. I will say though, both Dead Cells and Hades are great games. Cat Samurai, welcome. Kinky carrot. Oh, I consider Kenshi to be an immersive simulator, but I'm also the type to criticize games based on how bad I am at them, says Bubonic Lettuce. Are you the one who told Chris to play Kenshi? I don't know who did, but that was fun. Kenshi looks like a terrible game. It doesn't look like a terrible game. It looks very, very immersive, and something I probably wouldn't play. That was Mighty Odin. He never hangs out here anymore. I'm sad. Dude, I'm looking at the rapier and I'm like, we're gonna outscale the damage from this like fast enough in the game. Gilded Yumi's already outscaled the damage from it, and that's when we're getting crits. So I think I'm just gonna recycle this. It doesn't replace the guaranteed legendary that we get on a pedestal in the run. It's just its own item drop. So I don't really mind it not being here in the run, and we'll just, get a hopefully better item sometime in the future. Preference is the only reason not to take it, except not really. It doesn't really have a place in the run right now. When, what I want to do is I want to get access to using the War Javelin by taking Acrobata Pack, so it's, we have something in our backpack. We're using Yumi's bow as a ranged engagement option, and we're using the Frost Blast as a control item. So what would it replace? Would it replace the Frost Blast? Well, then I don't have control anymore. Would it replace the Yumi's bow? Well, then I don't have a ranged weapon anymore. I don't know what's causing that, by the way. That's new to me. It's kind of pissing me off a little bit, but maybe like there's some weirdness happening on the run. Oh, you know what? That's the Katana Zero character. Because you're rewinding time, it's the VCR effect. Or the VHS effect. Same difference. Ah, that's what it is. So that should go away on the next load. Because in my head, you want to know what I was thinking? What I was thinking is that was the like little Dead Cells-y Easter egg that happens with the timekeeper after you do the final boss thing. But no, it is just something completely different. Yep, there it goes. That's actually pretty fun. Even Frost Blast works on it too. And you know what? Maybe we could have rolled Rapier with the Frost Blast and even Gilded Yumi in the backpack, because I didn't know this was a ranged weapon. So we can use this to enable whatever's in the backpack. So we could have Gilded Yumi in the backpack, we get freeze into the Gilded Yumi, and it does more damage on a frozen target already. Boom, there's your damage synergy. So yeah, if we get a replacement melee weapon like another legendary rapier, maybe I would actually like to grab that, because then we would have another option. So yeah, there's some cool stuff there. We have our own built-in synergy with the Frost Blast. That doesn't have any bonus damage on Frozen, unfortunately. Maybe we can actually roll that very quickly. Victims freezing nearby enemies when they die is probably good enough. Anyways, that's cool. Affixes don't work on backpack, I think, says Selvito, just the first one. Explain what you mean. What does just the first one mean? Rapier had synergy with the Frost. Well, in theory, if we put Yumi's bow in the backpack, we've got a synergy with the Frost built in. But yeah, it didn't really feel like a melee run. But I certainly might try some alternatives now. The first affix on the weapon. Do you mean to tell me that if the War Javelin in the backpack fires, the only thing it does is 50% extra damage at max HP, and it does not shoot an arrow or freeze? Is that what you mean? So we'll have 50% damage but no freezing and no arrows? Just the first one? Guess that's not like too bad. Hey, thank you very much, Zero. Welcome. How are you doing? Kaka, thank you very much for the resubscription. Backpack just removes affixes. What do you mean except for the first one? It removes all of them but the first one? Like I can see it if it doesn't do like the I can understand it if it doesn't do like shooting arrows. But it also doesn't have like the freezing effect on it. I guess we should test. It wouldn't be that hard to test. Let's see. That one missed, so. No, it did freeze him. Go ahead. You are a tanky mother trucker, but he was also not actually supposed to be here. I didn't fire the sinew slicer, did I? Dude, I think the War Javelin works, because it created a frozen AoE when I killed that elite, and I don't think I used sinew slicer. Maybe I did though. I think it doesn't fire arrows or anything like that, but I think it still works as far as the affixes go. Then again, what do I know? Yeah, like, I'm getting the AoE frozen explosion, and the only thing that has that is the War Javelin. Yep. So it totally works. Affixes work. Arrow affixes don't work, like fire an arrow. Even then, hold on. Yeah, definitely no. See, fix for the Frost Blast. Is it? Hold on. Freeze enemies in front of you, no damage if the target is already frozen. No, it's not. There's no affix on Frost Blast that says when you kill an enemy, create an AoE frozen explosion around them. That's specifically on the War Javelin. So yeah, I believe the War Javelin is working. Also, Giant Slayer. Good damage. Don't really want it right now. We gotta be careful. This was not a guaranteed curse chest. I also didn't know it was a curse chest. I just opened it like an idiot. Okay. It's 30 kills down. Just 300 more to go. Whoa! Hey. It's working, they changed it. Also a possibility, this game does get updates on occasion. My guess is that, it's one of those changes that, you know, if it never worked, it was probably unintentional. Because it is specifically only some of the affixes that are not working. Like the shooting, again, shooting arrows doesn't work. So if you're gonna have an item in your backpack and you want it to be a part of your run, you know, re-roll it so it doesn't have shoot arrows, shoot grenades, stuff like that. Yumi's bow. Might have to get swapped to something else at some point. There we go. Also, he's gonna move. He's going. Oh my God, you again. See ya. Oh God. I did like no damage there. This one elite's gonna kill me. Like, get that. Oh my God. Really don't want to have to heal. Is there any HP? We should look for the shop of there's HP, which I don't see. And I know it's not gonna be in this direction. So what I'm gonna do is go in the direction of which it could be, likely down in the bottom right corner. Castlevania is so iconic it sucks the Julius game never happened. That I know nothing about. I don't know anything about sucking. You're coming to the wrong streamer for that. Okay. We're gonna go maybe a little bit slower here while we try to find our food shop. Although I doubt it's around this corner. Barnacle Trap is pretty good, and I'm not using the cocoon, like, at all. This could be good against death, though. Like, in fact, this could be good, better than the Sinew Slicer. Well, that's not the food shop. Food shop could also be on the left. It could be up here in this corner. Let's go up here in this corner. Could also just use a heal, but where's the fun in that? You heal? You heal in these games? Didn't know that could happen. He's stuck. Careful. Lovely. Careful. Root grenade. We are at 22% health. Is that enough HP that you can survive one hit? I don't know. You know what? I am gonna heal. Wanna know why? I'm just gonna buy a heal. Who needs money? We're already in the incentivized biome, right? Well, that's an interesting elite who just has a perpetual laser around them. BRB? Hey, knock it off. Gotta work on that war javelin in the backpack. Doesn't do enough damage, so it's really just kind of knocking the enemies back and then I can't hit them again. Hold on. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Although, oh, good. Although when it works, it does work very well. Because sometimes that war javelin is enabling me to kill something just a little bit faster. No, get out of here. There's our food shop. Surely we would have lived up to this point. It's not the food shop. Is there a food shop here? Or maybe that's only on the later return to the Castlevania. No, I think there's a food shop around here somewhere. Just gotta find it. It's a 2 BC door. So it should be around here somewhere then. I don't think it has like a very designated spawn location. I think it is a little bit just kind of semi-random, so that we haven't found it yet is only a little worrisome. 2 BC or 3. One or the other. They're close enough to each other. There it is. Now that we've got the map, we don't need it because we're already there. Now I do need, first of all, this. Do need to maybe save a little bit of cash to see if we can buy another weapon. I want to have another weapon for the freaking boss fight. I don't want Yumi's bow for it. Yumi's bow with the frost blast is one thing. Having to specifically use only Yumi's bow to kill that very mobile death could get a little annoying. Random weapons. That's what I'm looking for. Even a throwing knife, I think, would be better overall. Especially because we can still keep Yumi's bow in the backpack, replace the war javelin, get the damage bonus to frost when using frost blast, and then still have a slightly more faster paced weapon we can toss out that would also trigger the acrobat attack. I like it. Excuse me. Put that on ye old list of things. There we go. Easy. Are we not done yet? There's not that very many enemies remaining. How much HP do we have? 3,000? That's not a lot. Frantic sword. I remember when that used to be purple. Really, we're not done with the enemy spawns? All right, whatever you say, game. I'm gonna go and do this. And get my scroll. Da-da-da-da. Extra jump in midair. Brutality. Survival's a little bit better. Do we like the poison and the burn? We like it well enough, but not really a reason to change. No incentive. At a certain point, an amulet's an amulet. They're all the same. I wonder if they like manually set the rotation on some of those traps. It does feel a bit like sometimes the rotation on those is very lenient. All right, let's go and guess we could finish off like the last 3 remaining enemies, and then we'll go grab some throwing daggers, which I think will be fine enough. Well, there's the melee's cleared, but we also have an elite now. And he's dead. One day we'll get more money from those guys. Didn't get any money from those enemies that we just killed. That's okay. Yeah, I think I'll take a throwing knife. The damage is not incredible, but it will help to enable some of our, here's what I like about it. It's fast, we can use it to kill the rotating scythes that get thrown out. Easy to aim. I think it's acceptable. Could also go double ammo, which I think is nice, but I think, I actually think that barbed tips would be better technically. So, this there. Mimic? No mimic. Get rid of the war javelin, put this in the backpack. Dump it. See what's gonna show up after we reroll and then cry because it's extremely good equipment that we would like to have. Like the marksman's bow would actually be incredible. And it has a self-synergy between Toxic Cloud, poisoned targets, and it has ammo. Oh, if only I didn't heal, I would be dead right now, but what I would also have is a good weapon. I guess I would say a better weapon than we have now, but that's okay. We'll, yeah, that's solid. We'll look for a potentially better weapon later. It's the baguette! Fantastic. I guess I'm glad I explored. Now we're at full health. Let's get out of here. Skedaddle skadoodle. I don't think we're gonna get another 4,800 gold, 3,800 gold, 4,800. I was right the first time. Hey. Yeah, the throwing daggers are way easier to hit with, for sure. I guess we're gonna keep Cocoon as well, since we don't have enough money really to reroll anything else. We are pretty close to being able to buy that marksman's bow. There's a giant killer we could sell. I think we will. Okay, 5,600. No, we're not gonna get there. It's close, but nah. Yeah, it's 3 mobs remaining, but we're not gonna get the cash. They would have to all drop gems or weapons. At this point, I'm just gonna, you know, I guess they could have dropped Philosopher's Stone, yeah. Or that other stone that curses you, but it's only worth 10 grand. They could have dropped that as well. Shots pierce. I think I will go, well, it's either ammo or barbed tips. 283 DPS per arrow, They already do 597, so it's basically improving the DPS for like 50%. More damage, which is actually pretty decent. You don't have to worry about aiming so much. You can just go to town. You got a barnacle trap that's doing damage. Or you go for ammo and you can fire more. Let's go for the barb tips. It's a solid upgrade here, I think. Yeah. Now, the freeze AoE explosion did seem like it was working when we had the War Javelin. I'll admit though, I have no idea if the actual damage bonus modifiers will work with the bow in our backpack, the Yumi's bow. This might be something worth testing at some point. They could totally raise the drop rate of the stone. Yeah. It's kind of the point, though, for it to be extremely rare, though, right? Parried it. See, I tried comboing the parry, and now it's on cooldown. Okay. That worked. No! I hate this fight. I guess when the parry activates, it gets rid of projectiles around you. Maybe I should just be a little bit more aggressive about it. Yeah, that's the thing though, is that sometimes it's just hard to work with. It's hard to combo that that cocoon, because previously it would break all of the projectiles around me and then I tried to use it right there and it didn't. I don't know. That's why I don't like cocoon. And then when you fail and you're trying to do it correctly, you can't use it for 15 freaking seconds. Rather take the wolf trap. I think it just needs a bit of a rework. It needs to be a little bit more natural flowing in the combat. Anyways. We'll still live, hopefully. Throwing knife, frost blast, barnacle trap, a wolf trap, toxic cloud will synergize with the barnacle trap, everything else, whatever. I love it. I mean, maybe that's a little bit too complicated of a fight to try to get the cocoon, because the orbs that he fires kind of like curve and home in, and so it's a little bit less reliable. But I find that whenever I use the cocoon, stuff like that happens. Like I try to get like a 2-hit parry combo in, like, oh, I have to press parry again to parry the second projectile, and then I just miss it because the first one counted for parrying both of them, and then it's on cooldown. Stuff like that is the issue, because, you know, if you have a shield, oh no, you just parry again. You have the cocoon, oh, you gotta wait 15 seconds, so the whole purpose of using it is now negated, because now you just have to dodge roll again, so you might as well just dodge roll, because that's at least a little bit more consistent. You understand what's happening in the dodge rolls. Cocoon, not a big fan. Also might be a little bit of like get good in there somewhere, but you know, get good is also don't get hit, forehead. So, but it's probably, you know, way more effective at certain fights, like I could imagine, especially with the, see ya. What's the name of this boss? Scarecrow? Scarecrow would be very good with it, because with the Scarecrow, you would just parry every one of his slashes, because he doesn't do like annoying ranged attacks like Death does. Hey Mud, what's up? What's going on? Okay, see you later. I don't know, oh, Jesus. The combo isn't really working as well as I would like with the Frost Blast in our backpack, but it is still fun. Right now, it's really just Frost Blast and then shoot them once, and that seems to get the job done most of the time. Excuse me. All right, that's most of everyone we need to worry about. Let's do that cursed chest. Excuse me. Let's see what we get. Hopefully something good. It's not! Oh, rip. 7,000 DPS. I mean, it's a lot of damage if you crit. If you just smack an enemy with it, not quite as good as just, you know, hitting them with a freaking arrow to the knee. Well, he's not gonna bother me. These enemies might. He might, so we gotta be a little bit careful about him too. Nope, refuse. Luckily they bleed, which is weird. Did you just like jump to your death? I was just all over the place on that one. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All right. Enemies are way too suicidal. What? I thought I went through the door. Looked away from the screen for a second. Burns the enemy Ferryman's Lantern. Star Fury, twice as many bullets. Infantry Grenade spreads oil. This is a tough one because these are all pretty decent. Ferryman's Lantern, the damage is good, but it completely negates our run archetype. Star Fury is a good one-off weapon. I don't know if the falling stars are ranged. Like, will they work with the like point blank perk? Because if they do, maybe we could use that. And firing double bullets means that that should, in theory, do a lot of damage. So that's tempting. Ferryman's Lantern is tempting as well. Soul Shot does such a lot of damage. Such a lot? It does a lot of damage. Shots leave a trail of flames. Means maybe we could build into some sort of like a double damage burn synergy and then just completely wipe enemies in one shot. Take double ammo. We'll have 17 soul shots, which we can use to just annihilate enemies. I mean, if we freeze an enemy and then just soul shot him, we could possibly kill bosses in a single hit. So that's a pretty cool like weapon setup there. I don't know what I would like right now. I gotta think about it for a minute. That lantern is very tempting though. Hey, it's another war javelin. Eh. Ow, ow, ow! I got stuck trying to, still have disengagement. I got stuck trying to go down. My hitbox wouldn't follow me fast enough. Well, they died somewhere. Two-handed weapons. It is a two-handed weapon, so, you know, we'd have to use it But, you know, there's a positive there. It's a two-handed weapon. If it's a two-handed weapon, then we only need one. Instead of having, you know, a second weapon. Excuse me. I don't know how I feel about this war javelin anymore, except it's not a war javelin, but it might as well be one. I mean, if it doesn't even kill the enemy in one hit, what's the point? Ah, Frost Blast. You failed me for the last time. Now I'm gonna have to go buy some more heals. Well, I know he's not gonna die. Valmont's whip, 11,000 DPS on the crit. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm still kind of leaning towards Soul Shot there. The Star Sword, I guess the thing is that you've got to like really get up close and personal with that one, and you've got to stay up close and personal. Yeah, you got to stay up close and personal with the dang lantern, but already bought the food. Whatever. But it is, I think, just a little easier because for bosses, whatever, we could just grab, you know, power up the Soul Shot and then just use that. And then, you know, inevitably the boss is not gonna die to the Soul Shot, so I still have to focus on killing him, but hey, maybe we could make it work with point blank and, you know, glass cannon style builds, but then it's gonna be a little bit dangerous actually, you know, hitting the enemies to charge it to begin with. Who knows? You know, figure it out. We have a whole floor to figure it out in. Spreads flames and lights enemies on fire. Victims burn when they die. Victims burn when they die. Burns the ground when destroyed. Wolf trap. So if I take an oil grenade, we can light them up, reroll that thing to have double damage on burning targets, and then Soul Shot would ice everything. Either that or Star Sword. I don't think we need an infantry grenade that's legendary affixes. Also oil. What? For some reason I thought he was dying. He was not dying. He teleported and punched me. Well, kicked me. Vampire Killer does pretty good damage. Enemies killed by this weapon burns. Deals crits on burns, and the crits are pretty strong. Throwable objects is a good stun. Machete pistol is not what we want. There's another ferryman's lantern. Cross, infantry bows, pretty good. Another lantern, another Star Sword. I feel like we could probably get rid of both barbed tips. That was a little unfortunate. And the acrobat pack. Take point blank. Oh. Enemies killed by the special effect of this weapon count 3 times for your kill streak. Legendary sewing scissors. Did not expect to find that here. Okay, we could also grab this as a legendary. And then what the hell else do we grab? I don't know. I still don't want that grenade, but maybe we can get something else. 11,000 DPS is still pretty good. Certainly is a bit of a weird tactics run, but at least the weapons are fun. Whoa. I don't know what happened there. Bard, welcome, how's it going? The grenade keeps killing everything in one hit. Oh my god, well, we're gonna go down here then. Freaking just immediately got smacked by this thing, fell, get juggled. Kind of do want to get like a kill streak hit here, so like, hey, come here. Did it count? I don't know, I wasn't paying attention. Did it go from 7 to 10? I was focused more on the dodging. Bard says, I'm finishing up run 6 or so of Elden Ring. Oh my god, you played too much of that game. I play too much of Dead Cells though, so I can't really complain too much, can I? Okay. Well, that was rude. Kinda don't like this whole not having any HP thing, but that's just par for the course on a run like this. Maybe we should be using more traps. Put enemies in a freaking bear trap and then just watch them die. That's an elite, oh lord. It's not a bad elite though. At least we did kill the elite with the, you know, legendary effects of this thing. That's pretty good. Oh, he's coming. Fat boy's pissed. I don't like losing the ability to be ranged. I think that's what I'm learning. That's a bit of a problem because all of our weapon choices, especially the legendary ones, are all ranged based. The scissors are fun. I just don't know if this is the right run for it because we're tactics. I have 4,000 HP. I keep having to heal when I get hit one time. It's like Ferryman's Lantern does the same damage. We can roll it into a self-fire synergy. Soul Shot at 26,000 DPS. If we load up 17, will that do enough damage to like one-shot a boss? I got no idea. I kind of want to do it because it's funny. Super high damage, soul shot, point blank. High damage, murder everything with the power shots, especially like elites if they come up. I mean, Ferryman's Lantern will probably one-shot most enemies. We do enough damage, but the Sewing Scissors is a pretty fun combo. I am leaning towards the Ferryman's Lantern. There's twice as many bullets. So it's 4 falling stars on the Star Fury. The damage is just really low, and I don't know what that number in parentheses means for DPS. Is that 1 star's damage? 2 stars worth of damage? Is that the base level of the sword hit plus both star damage hitting at the same time? You know, the range of the value on the DPS here could be anything from 28,000 DPS to what's listed on the tin, 6,000. So I have no freaking idea what fires twice as many bullets is actually gonna make the DPS jump to. At least I understand Ferryman's Lantern, it fires 1 projectile when you charge it. Snatching souls is probably not too big of a problem, but it is gonna be, it's gonna be a little scary. I think Point Blank works with Star Fury, so we could definitely roll that too. Get double damage on an oil target with the stars. Kind of am leaning towards the sword, though, I'll admit. What boss are we gonna kill? Good question, I have no idea. I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm leaning towards the lighthouse and the queen. Ferryman's Lantern would definitely have a bit of a disadvantage there. We could go Star Fury. Like, we could go Sewing Scissor Star Fury. A little weird. We would lose Frost Blast. The other quandary is, I mean, we have multiple melee legendary weapons on a tactics run. What do you get rid of? I don't want to take the infantry grenade, but it might actually be a pretty good alternative here to spread oil. But we can probably dump the scissors for the Star Fury and use Star Fury for bosses. You know what we can do? We can actually put this in the backpack. So you know what? Let's do it like this. We can actually test this for a little while. Let's give this a go with the Star Fury for a minute, and then we've got options. If we don't like how this looks, we can swap things out. Actually, you know what I like? I kind of like the idea of fighting the giant, because the giant should be pretty easy to take out here. And hey, you want me to go to the sepulcher? Oh, I mean, I gotta go what the game says. Game wants me to go to the sepulcher, guys. Throw his arms in the air. CC Gulls, welcome. Abe, have you played a Wild Frost? No, I never did send them an email asking for a code for their game. I should probably do at some point. Crits up. I'm really looking for double damage on oil. And it spreads oil. So now we need fire. Wolf Trap can make fire. I'm gonna be looking for another item that creates fire, but for right now, the Star Fury is pretty okay. I am gonna reset some mutations. We're gonna take disengagement. We're gonna go point blank on the off chance that that works. And then I guess I kind of like a gastronomy just for the healing. Necromancy would also allow us to heal. And we know that the healing from this can get substantial, but it's only 0.4%, kill 100 enemies, that's 40% HP. It scales off of your current max. Gastronomy is probably better. We'll go gastronomy for the raw healing. And then we'll go to the sepulcher, because that's what the game wants. I have a feeling that the scissors are actually going to be better than the Star Fury here, though. Lots of enemies. Lots of enemies. Okay, quick little forward-looking check. Plenty of enemies. Let's do it. Actually, that's pretty good, too. It's a lot of money as well. Cluster Bomb, spreads oil, more damage on burning oil, 3,700 damage per bomb versus Barnacle Trap. It'll lock him in place, crit with the oil grenade. Barnacle Trap is probably fine enough, and it doesn't draw aggro too, so we can do something like this. Don't worry, this has a point. Well, that's gonna be a teleport, I think, because he burned. Yeah, freaking knew that. Actually looked pretty effective. But again, I think we do still want this for dealing with the floor at least. I gotta kill one more enemy. I see you. my one more enemy friend. Dun, dun, dun. Excuse me, I need this. I need it! Storm of the Seas, welcome. It was a little bit stormy here today, actually. It wasn't as bad as it has been in the past. Like, I wasn't at all worried about maybe losing power, not being able to stream or anything like that, but it rained more than I thought it would. I didn't even realize it was gonna rain today. Gotcha. Skipped a rune near the blue light. Now I gotta go figure out which blue light that was. Give me a second. Oh, I also need to get the money. Okay, let's get the money. All right. That's a bit anticlimactic. I know exactly what happened too. I mean, you saw what happened, but I'm gonna tell you mentally what happened, okay? Love Drillhead. Mentally what happened is, there was a chest. I opened the chest and I saw that on the map that there was one gold bar that I wanted. So I stood on the edge of the chest room where time was paused, and I wanted to see if I could reach my head down there and get it. In my head, I didn't realize that that would still lower the light. I thought we were safe because we were in the chest room, but we weren't in the AoE of the light, so the light got really low. And then when I went down there, I mean, obviously you saw what happened. I didn't have enough time to get down there and grab the gold gem. And it's because I thought that we would not lose the light being in the chest room. That was obviously wrong. So that was a very silly way of dying, but you know what? You gotta have one of those brain fart moments in Dead Cells on occasion. At least we didn't die to an enemy. I died to my own well, again, I just died to my own brain fart, which is acceptable to me because that's funny. And I really, I wanted to see where that would go with the star pew on the giant. I think it would have been totally fine. But then again, now that I think about it, we have had bad runs in the past with that, because if I remember correctly, the stars go for the fists even if they don't take damage. Although, no, that's from the enhanced version of the fight, isn't it? The boss rush enhanced version has 4 fists, and the top 2 don't go away. So the stars always go for them instead of the eye. No, that's what it was. That's what it is. So yeah, I guess it would have been fine on this fight. Anyways, that was a very stupid way of dying, but it's in a way that I can appreciate because I haven't died in that stupid of a fashion in quite a while. Anyways, hey, for those of you on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, check me out on Twitch for when I go live, support the channel at any of the links below in the video description, and I hope to see you here again for the next run of Dead Cells.